look into the roots of Wicca, you find the Golden Dawn, right?
And
And
Thelema.
yeah, Thelema. Um, so a lot of Golden Dawn people listen to this, and that's cool. So I'm curious about your thoughts on things. For example, do you have a favorite Outer Order initiation?
Do I have a favorite Outer Order initiation? Well, Zealot's kind of nice because it's really short.
And
and I
like
and
a
and
true
then that
temple
that sounds like
officer.
a joke. That sounds like a joke, but you wouldn't believe how many times we've gone to temple and it's like, oh, we got a bunch of initiations to do. Oh, which one? Zealot. Oh, okay, we can do something. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got this thing in my lap. That's why I keep looking down and I just startled her. Poor thing. Um, I don't know if I have a favorite one. I mean, it's real easy to say the neophyte because that's the formula of the magic of light. That's kind of what a lot of inner order magic and processes are based on. So it's very foundational and you'll use it a lot. But of course, there's some uses for the other grade setups as well. Like Rigardi has the evocation ceremony that uses the Zealoter process. And I've actually used that before. It is actually effective. Um, but I was always kind of fascinated with Practicus and Philosophus together. When you go into the when you pass out of the outer order and into the inner, you have to write a thesis, and you have to write a thesis describing your experience of each grade as you went up through them. And in my thesis, I actually referred to Practicus and Philosophus as the twin grades. And I had to combine them into one section in my thesis instead of separate because they were so intertwined. You've got the Practicus, that's your water grade, right? But yet it's got all of these fire paths connecting into it. And then the next thing you go into is Philosophus, and that's your fire grade, but it's got all these water paths connecting into it. So, and even like the symbols that are on the altar and the way the halls are arranged, they're like reflections of each other.
Yeah,
So
it's so
honestly,
cool.
I mean, yeah, if you're not looking at, magical formulas, I mean, specifically for use and other things, if you're not looking at, where your favorite speech is or anything like that, but if you just look at the structure of the ceremonies themselves, I mean, Practicus and Philosophus are like kind of this masterwork. The way they're woven together, and each one depends on the existence of the other. It's just fascinating. That was my favorite one to explore when I was writing my own thesis on what it was like going through them. And so, yep, that I would have to say those two together are my favorite initiation ritual.
Did you get to go through them alone?
I'm pretty sure I did. Well, I mean, first I have to say in our order, everyone does. I mean, we don't do group initiations, but I don't recall we will do them, like one after the
Okay.
other.
Yeah, you never.
And what's that?
Yeah, okay, so you never did group initiations.
What we do is like let's say there's a group of people to be initiated that day. We'll open the hall once in that grade, and then we'll bring each person through for the initiation individually. So one person comes through, takes the initiation, and then gets to sit down and watch the next one. And I mean just the initiation point. And then once that's done, at the end of the rituals is the explanation point. That's where all the symbols are revealed. And this is what this means. And this is why we had to do that. That will actually have everyone that was initiated that day, will give them that information all at once. So it's a
Oh,
very slick way of doing a lot of initiations in a short time, but not having people have to go through their initiation in a group because it's not meant for you to go through in a group. It's a personal thing. So each person has to go through the path walkings and the introduction into the temple. They have to do that by themselves. So
that's
I've
cool. That's
yeah, I've,
I
yeah,
like
I've
that.
never had a dual initiation or a triple initiation or anything like that. No.
Oh man, I've been initiations with like 40 people all at once, maybe
Oh,
more.
that's just see, that's missing the point. The whole point of this, and you hear me talk
It's one of the
online all the time
reasons.
about
It's
how
one of the
I
reasons.
don't like the psychological model of magic,
Yeah,
but
let's
in
go
the
for it.
Golden Dawn, it's very important. It's all about imprinting these magical symbols on your psyche and actually emblazon some of them into your actual aura, that they'll be there for the rest of your life. And I just don't see how you can do that to a room full of 40 people, so
It works, I'd say, as well as it did for Mathers,
yeah.
which is not to praise it. It's just
Yeah.
to accept the
Yeah, I don't agree
reality
with
of it.
everything Mathers did, but
Yeah,
that's basically our philosophy. It should be each person goes through, one at a time. Each officer, each deity or archangel that is addressing you is just talking to you one on one, and it's a very intimate process. So, I know there are orders that do things in very different ways, but I very much like the way we do it.
dude. One of my friends who I recommend to one order got initiated into Philosophus before Neophyte and got a whole half body rash right after the initiation. They didn't go away for months.
Wow. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's that. I remember something happened. It was just a logistical issue, like needing officers for rituals, and something happened where I needed to stand as Carrix for a ritual.
That's my favorite officer role.
Yeah, you got to be like a juggler, well, especially in the neophyte. But I actually don't think it was a neophyte. I forget what ritual it was now. But I had to stand as Carrix. We needed a Carrix. But I was going to be taking my practicus that same day, later that day. And at least in my mind, you shouldn't be holding that office until you're a practicus. So I was holding that scepter and I was doing that work, even though it was the same day. I had not yet taken the right initiation, and I swear it bit me. My entire arm just went numb all the way from the hand all the way up to the shoulder. So yeah, I sometimes you got to take that seriously, depending on the spirits involved and how they're going to react to things. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When I became an adept and the other guy who became adept around the same time as me, Martin, he runs Zaleski's order now up in Montreal, right?
mhm.
We changed things. We talked to the adept above us. The other adept had just left, so there's only three of us now. Three Aquarians running the Temple of Tahuti, which had been founded by a Virgo, run by a Virgo and a Gemini, and then passed on to us three Aquarians. The adepts after me consisted of a Libra and a Gemini. That's it. And those are all the adepts that went through Temple Tahuti, I believe. Oh, I'm forgetting
Wow.
one. I'm forgetting a Taurus. Forgetting a Taurus. But she was
Okay,
American, so
listen,
she
that's
doesn't
a
count.
lot of air.
Yeah, well, Temple of Duty, Temple of the Word, and we were a hardcore group. It was really fun. It was a time of my life, and we did institute. We said to him, "How do we start doing these initiations just for one person?" And our imperator was like, "That might mean we have to do three some nights. If we have three neophytes joining this month, then that means on this Saturday we do three initiations. Are you up for
Do
that?"
three
And we were
initiations.
like,
That's right.
"Hell yeah!" Zinc won't let us have jobs anymore. So what else are we meant to do?
Oh, good Lord.
That's why I went to grad school, because it wouldn't let me keep a job and keep calling me to do things like,
Wow.
you have to quit your job and do this, drive down to LA, drive down to Seattle, do this. It's like, okay, I'm going back to school
Jeez.
because I'm not gonna with school they wouldn't pull that shit. Well, then of course they
Right.
tried to, and then a bunch of adepts left because they were so outraged by how I was being treated, and then eventually I left. So, say la vie. There you go.
All's well that ends well, I
we
suppose.
we talked about a bunch of that stuff offline, which is
Yeah.
why you're not so shocked by any of it, right? But anyway, we did start doing initiations just for the people, and it was great. It was a really good idea, I think. Then, unfortunately, the Hierophant after me was a Gemini and refused to memorize any of his lines, and it just fell apart after that. And so,
Yeah, we in our temple we're not big on memorizing everything. There's some prayers and stuff like when we get up to do the prayer of Osiris at the end. We always like to have that memorized. I think there's a few that don't, but most of us do. But our thing is because we're the mother temple, we have so many people coming through all the time that we just really can't memorize every single ritual. So yeah, we'll carry scripts around through a lot of it.
I've got nothing against needing a script. It's like what I always would tell people is like, yes, you must memorize your lines. However, if you do not have your lines memorized, make sure you have your script. Don't
Yeah,
like,
make sure you have
don't
it.
be like,
Yeah.
go in there and hope for the best. Maybe it'll just the spirits will tell it to me. No, we want
No.
this thing to go
Well, we what
smoothly.
we focus on a lot is and we really need to get back to it. Of course, pandemic and everything, it's a lot got shut down. But we're starting to get kind of powered back up again. But what we used to do was drilling. And it's not so much memorizing the lines, but it's getting everyone to know where to go in the temple and how to move and how to not trip over each other. And, at this point in the ritual, you need to be over here, and be ready for what's about to happen at this next point in the ritual. And, there's a lot of, stage direction, blocking is what, is what it would be called in theater. And when even if it's not memorizing the lines, if by drilling on that and getting all of that to go smooth, that just makes so much of a difference, because you can really tell when folks come into the temple that they don't really practice that blocking, and they're not really used to working in a full temple, and they'll go the wrong way, or they'll trip over or run into other people or knock things over or be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or miscues. I guess I'm sounding like a director right now, but there's a lot of stagecraft that goes into actually running a, a, a full lodge style ritual. And so that's what we focused on a lot, and we'll focus on again once we get back up and running.
Yeah, rehearsals were when you committed to a 6 month term as an officer at our temple, it was a big commitment. It meant usually like 2-3 nights a week for the elemental initiation of the month. Because you do them under the sign of the zodiac that they're in, right? That's how we did them. I don't know if that's actually normal Golden Dawn practice, but
No, it's
it
not.
was a
No,
really
we
helpful.
can't do that because again, because we're the mother temple. I mean, we have to do the rituals when people can come here. If someone's
Mm,
flying from London for an initiation, we can't. We're not going to be able to time that to the astrology all the time. But the
yeah.
Golden Dawn itself wasn't really big on that.
No, we just did it as an administrative thing. Like, when we were
Yeah,
on air sign, we did each month there was an elemental initiation. And when was it? It was the one of the sign that we were in. And then, of course, every month we
signs
also
are
had to
in.
do a neophyte for whatever members we had joining. But originally, we only did one neophyte for all the members that were joining. And that could go up to here in Vancouver, that I think the most we ever did was probably 5 to 10 people. Because,
Hmm.
that's still a lot of people. But we were
Oh
we were
yeah,
we were
oh
we
yeah.
were we grew very large very fast. Anyway, but yeah, it's a lot of practice to rehearse these initiations and ceremonies if you want to do them well. So yeah, it's a. Did you have a favorite officer role? Do you have?
Hmm.
Yeah, I told you mine.
I think I feel most comfortable in the Hierophant position, because I just kind of have this. It's hard sometimes, this impetus to, like, I don't want to say control things, but, like, I just went on and on about blocking and making sure that people are moving right and stuff in the ritual. And it's hard for me, like, let's say I'm out in the hall as one of the officers there. It's even then, it's hard for me not to say, okay, everyone stand up. Okay, no, everyone needs to sit down. Hey, you need to go over here. So I'm always like trying to, keep things running smoothly. And it's almost like it's almost like a bad habit I can't stop.
Is your
you
Mars
know?
yeah, is your Mars in Capricorn as well?
No, 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 it's really not. I'm not really sure where that comes from. It might even be the Saturn in my because of Saturn, my Sun and Saturn are both in Cancer. Um, but I don't.
Wait, you're
Yeah,
not a
it's
Capricorn?
no, my right. Well, I am a Capricorn, but that's because my ascendant is Capricorn. Your ascendant is your actual sign. That's what you actually are. So
I
yes,
told my
my
mom that.
ascendant is Capricorn. My sun is Cancer, and my moon is
Oh.
Sagittarius.
Mm.
I'm trying to remember where my Mars is at the moment, but I can't. I want to say Pisces, but I'm thinking that's my daughter's chart. So yeah, I don't remember where my Mars is. Leo, maybe.
Why is it you would
Look,
consider
yeah,
your
look, I don't know.
ascendant your actual sign?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Why would you consider your ascendant to be your actual sign?
Because, well, in comparison to your sun sign is just your outer personality. It's just the part of you you show to the world. Just like the moon, your moon sign is your inner personality, the part that you tend to keep to yourself. But your ascendant colors everything in the chart. Everything is like, I'm Capricorn, so my sun is in Cancer, so it's a Capricorn Cancer,
Mm.
and my moon is Sagittarius. It's a Capricorn Sagittarius.
That's a
So
very
every, you know,
it's a very different
so,
interpretive model than I was raised with. My mom's an astrologer, so I was raised with this tropical astrology, Hellenistic astrology, and I've never heard these interpretations before. Are they more sidereal or Jyotish?
no, it's Renaissance astrology.
Just okay. Interesting,
Same
really
stuff
cool.
Christopher Warnock
Very
teaches.
cool.
I'm not saying I got that from his teachings, but
Yeah.
it's the same. It's the same stuff.
Yeah, I've
I
been
forget
meaning to look at
exactly
the what he's
which
up to.
source I got it from, but
Yeah,
yeah, for
I like it.
a very long time, I've considered the ascendant to be the actual sign.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So okay, I was almost gonna ask you other than Hierophant, because like it's like why I didn't ask you which is your favorite initiation in general,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously it's 5-6, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like
Well, you said
so
Golden Dawn. You didn't say RRADAC,
because
so
I'm
I was
because I was being
strictly Golden
smart with
Dawn.
the officer question. My judgment lapsed, and I didn't say except other than Hierophant. So other than Hierophant, what's your
Oh,
favorite officer role that you've been or seen?
no,
Or
probably Hyrus,
you like Hieros, eh?
because
Oh, it's a fun
because
one,
you're
right?
because as Hyrus, you're still in charge of the hall. you're, you're the second in command of the to the
All
but
right. You like being in charge. I get it.
but no, I mean, yeah, really, I mean, I kid, but I do have that impetus to want to, make sure everything's being run right. But I also like Hires because it's a very active role. I kind of like what I like about most Golden Dawn ceremonies is that you're kind of active no matter what role you're in. You're never just not doing anything. Even the Stylistes and the Duhos have good, you feel like you're up and doing stuff. But the Hyrus really feels like he's the most active in the hall. And I guarantee you there's a million people going, wait, Carrick's, he's the juggler and everything. And he really is. But the Hyrus is the one that does the banishing ritual, and the Hyrus is the one that anchors the when you're opening the hall and the higher the first the Hyrus stands up and explains his office, and then the Hierophant stands up and explains his office, and you're actually creating this energy between the east and the west, and the Hyrus has to anchor that. And I mean, there's just so much about his role. In
It's
fact,
awesome. I
now that
got
I
to do
really think
Hyrus
about it,
once in
say that again.
Portal. I got to do Hyrus once in Portal for 6 months, and then I believe once in 5-6 I got to do Hyrus for 6 months. And there's nothing cooler than getting to do some lesser, different officer roles as an adept. Obviously, they want you on the dais, especially in a small temple. But it was Hyrus is so much fun. Just
Yeah. Well, it's good to have second order members in all the offices if you can get it,
yeah,
because the second order officers will know what the god forms are supposed to look like, and there's a lot of stuff that they don't teach you until you get into the inner order that's going on the astral in those outer order rituals. And I remember the first time I sat down. In fact, I was on the dais, but I didn't hold any office. I wasn't, I was a brand new initiate into the second order, and I think they just had enough officers to fill everything, so they stuck me on in like the past Hierophant seat or something. It was really just a placeholder. But for the very first time, they handed me the adept script for the rituals, and that feeling of getting to see that for the very first time, and not just see it on the paper, but I'm watching the actual ritual being performed, but I'm being told what's going on and on all these other different levels that I had never seen before. So I'm getting this whole new light show of a ritual and that was just an incredible experience. So yeah, if you can get all of your officers to have that inner order knowledge, that's definitely desirable.
if you can get a dozen or so adepts at every temple, that's nice.
Yeah, right.
It's nice. Not a bad thing at all. Um, very cool. Yeah, because we're from like